Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Blake here, back with another little discussion video, and today I'm going to be talking about something that is it's very a very significant, in my opinion, thing that's getting a lot of attention right now, and is certainly justified. It certainly earned that attention. Zack Snyder's Justice League now fully exists. It's a thing. It's out on HBO Max, and I watched it on Friday. I started it at 7 o'clock and I finished at 11 o'clock. Yes, this movie is 4 hours long, but it's nice that it's broken up into 6 chapters and the epilogue. So if you don't want to watch all of it in one go like I did, then you could just watch it like a little TV series if you wanted to. But no, that's not exactly the direction I went in. I decided to watch it all the way through, and it's I am really, it's so weird the way I feel about this movie, because all of Zack Snyder's other DC movies, I say all, but it's only two, but Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, I really don't like either of those movies very much, especially Man of Steel. I prefer Batman v Superman because even though I mostly hate everything in that movie, there are some elements that I like, and if I watch a few scenes out of context, just separate on their own, then I can kind of enjoy them. With Man of Steel, it's like one scene that I can watch and enjoy, and then other than that, there's nothing. But either way, I still really don't like either of those movies because they just, in my opinion, ruin the main characters and just get them completely wrong. And I don't know, I just don't think they're very good. But this movie is just, it doesn't have, even though these versions of Batman, Superman in particular, they have done terrible things in the past two movies, they don't do them in this movie. Like, Batman doesn't kill a single person in this movie. Like, ooh, what a shock. But yeah, he doesn't kill a single person in this movie, and neither does Superman. Did I say that right? Superman doesn't kill anyone in this movie either. And I mean, he is pretty brutal with Steppenwolf around the end of the movie, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So I kind of want to try and break this down chapter after chapter, but I don't think I have a strong, stable enough memory to rely on and trust to do that. So I think I'm just going to go over the stuff that really, really, really stuck out to me that I really want to talk about. So yeah, let's just do that. So I guess we could kind of do it in chronological order for a bit. So at the beginning of the movie, the opening with Superman's death and like him screaming after Doomsday stabbed him, and just his, like, the waves from his voice just being sent all across the planet to every region and tribe of the world was just really, it was pretty mesmerizing already. Like, it just really, like, in the second official trailer, I believe, it just or I guess the first official trailer, not the teaser, but the recent one, it really cemented what that trailer showed at the beginning, just saying, like, the god is dead, and like that mystic music they were playing in the trailer, like, it just really, really set in the idea that Superman is gone, and everybody knows it now. This is a world where Superman is gone for a few hours for the audience, but that was really nice. And then one of or I guess two of my favorite things about this movie in particular, well, one of my general favorite things about this movie is just how it fleshes out like everything so much more, and specifically the characters, and in particular out of the characters, Flash and Cyborg, because for Flash, slightly less so, because he's not really his backstory, like his powers and his relationships um they aren't gone into quite as deep as Cyborg's are, but he's still a lot better than he was in the original, just like everyone else, to be honest. But yeah, Flash's scene with where he saves Iris West, the jokes in that scene, like the jokes in the whole movie were way better than the theatrical cut, where they were just really miserable and they were trying to be like Marvel for some reason. It was just terrible there. But here the jokes are better, and I think there are less of them, honestly, which I don't have a problem with at all, because not only is this, not a Marvel movie, which usually aim to be a bit more fun and lighthearted. It just works that this movie didn't have a lot of jokes, because it doesn't really need to. The only thing you really need to worry about with jokes is, like, if you're going to have them, then, are they good or are they funny? But they aren't really a necessity. Like, maybe one here and there, just to keep it from being too overly depressing or something. But even that, they're not entirely a necessity. So there's less humor overall. But when there is humor, I think it's pretty good. And yeah, so going back to that Flash scene, the jokes in that scene were pretty funny. And when he after Iris crashes her, well, she doesn't crash. After that jerk in his garbage truck, I think that's what he was driving, just crashes into Iris's car, and he's like rescuing her, moving her hair out of her way, of her face, and all that. When he went to grab that little, like, hot dog or sausage or whatever, I thought that was just for him, but that he used it to try and get to his job as a dog walker. I was like, I thought he was just gonna eat that. Like, thought that was I guess it was kind of a joke, but it tied into something else that I wasn't expecting. But man, that scene that was just such a splendid scene. Like, the effects in this movie are so much better than the theatrical cut. Like, man, they like, some characters have been redesigned and some are actually here so you can see what they look like Darkseid. But the redesign, like Steppenwolf, I don't think it looked bad in the original, like, from a technical standpoint. But here, it's just like, I don't know, everything is just better to me for some reason. I mean, I guess it's maybe because the movie itself is better, in my opinion. And that just kind of, in my mind, bleeds into everything else. But in the Flash scene, like, before he even starts running, he just, like pushes himself up onto his toes, which, that's not a big thing. It's just like when you're standing on your tippy toes, so don't misinterpret that. But he just, stands on his tippy toes and moves to the side a little bit. And just that little sway he does just atomizes his shoes. That was just crazy. And then he started running to the glass door of the pet shop, and he just poked it with his finger, and then he just pushed through it like it was a soap bubble or something. Like, it was so, like, visually mesmerizing. And then he got onto the street. He ran to Iris's car, and then when he stopped, he kind of like skids on the street with his bare feet, because his shoes were just atomized. And then he breaks the street. He like cracks the part of the street where his feet are, because he's skidding on it, I guess, because he's moving so fast. He doesn't even react to it. It makes him seem so, like, amazingly just insane. And not only was the scene, like, visually incredible, but that and this other thing I'm about to mention, my favorite things about the scene, the music in that scene was so beautiful. Like, over the past year, I have grown to appreciate and love music a lot more than I ever have in my entire life, to be honest. And if the song they used in Flash's scene, I'm just gonna call it his scene, Um, the song they used in his scene was in the original theatrical 2017 version. At the time, I was pretty young. Um, I would have probably just dismissed him, like, this music sucks, but like, now it's just like stuff like that, and stuff in Cyborg scene, and like the use of Cyborg scene. I think I said that. And the use of the Man of Steel theme at multiple points in the movie, and the music in the credits. You know the song. I'll probably get into that later. It's just like that. The music really, and the Justice League theme, like the new version, like it's just incredible. All the stuff like that, just while I was watching the movie, and I kept on thinking it over and over in my head, just like while I was watching it for the first time. I just kept on thinking, I'm just so glad that this movie exists. Like, it's just such an abnormal thing for it to exist. And you know, when it got announced, I was happy it did. But like, if it wasn't very good, then I think that would have kind of, it would have been disappointing and stuff. But like, the feeling of just joy and satisfaction I had when I was watching this movie, I really wasn't expecting it at all, because I wasn't one of the big, huge supporters of this movie. I didn't sign any petitions or like campaign for it online, although I think I used the hashtag release the Snyder Cut maybe a few times on YouTube, but those are like in comments on other videos. I wasn't even making YouTube videos again until like October and November 2020, and even then they were just like gaming videos mostly. I couldn't make community posts. I wasn't doing discussion videos like this or anything. So yeah, I wasn't one of the, I guess, quote unquote higher up supporters of this of this movie before it became a reality. Or wait, I used the hashtag in 2019. That's what I meant to say, because it got announced in March of 2020, I think. So that didn't line up. But yeah, and I was excited because I supported it, and I was told about like the Black Suit Superman and Darkseid a few years ago at a class I used to take by my teachers. We were just talking, and I was way younger then, so I wanted to see it then. And then I wanted to see it only like 1 or 2 years ago. I wanted to see it, but it wasn't that big a deal to me that I would like ask my mom if I could sign a petition when I was pretty young. It wasn't quite that big a deal for me. Like, I saw the original Justice League, and at the time I liked it, so it was fine with me. It just wasn't that big a deal to me. But like, when I was about to watch the movie, and even before I get into that, like, even as I was watching the trailers for the Snyder Cut, and like the teaser at the DC Fandom, and then the mini trailers that came out a few weeks ago, and then the full official trailer a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or two ago at this point, I was excited, but like, it wasn't quite as big a deal to me still as it was to a lot of other people. And that makes sense, but because I wasn't one of the major supporters of it. But it just, I don't know, I just wasn't too crazy excited for it. Like, I was more excited for the Batman, I think. But as I was about to play the movie, and as the movie was starting, as I sat through it and watched all the changes and thought of what this movie meant to so many people, let alone Zack himself, I just had a feeling watching this movie that I haven't had in a very long time, if ever. Like, I was just like a child. I was just astounded and dumbfounded at this movie. It was just, it's so hard to explain, but it was, to be honest, just like kind of a magical feeling watching this movie, and that's me not even being one of the major supporters of this movie. Like I said, you know, it it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But yeah, going back to that Flash scene, like the music in that scene was just so, man, it was so beautiful. Like I haven't really looked up the lyrics to that song, and I couldn't exactly. I wasn't really trying to make out the lyrics. I was just enjoying the vocals and how beautiful they were, and like the piano and everything. Not necessarily like what the person was actually saying, but it's just, I don't even know if like the lyrics like related to what was happening in the scene in any like sort of metaphorical way, because it probably wasn't about some superpowered guy who could run at the speed of light. So but it was just so, it was just another one of those things in the movie, like one of many things in the movie that just made me say, you know, I'm just so glad that this movie exists. I really wasn't expecting to feel the way I did about this movie. In any of the time before its build up, I mean, when I was about to watch it, I was really excited I just got really excited all of a sudden for some reason. I guess the anticipation, sorry, that was apparently building up inside me. It just decided to let itself be known, and, you know. But moving on to Cyborg's scene, like his scene was so, like his main scene where he explains like his powers and they have the flashback, and you know, those might actually be two separate scenes, but I'm gonna refer to them as one scene anyway. So Cyborg's scenes, let's say that just to be safe. Man, his flashback scene. I'm not the biggest Cyborg fan, and like comics or really anything, to be honest. I mean, I love him in Teen Titans, like the cartoon, the original one from the 2000s, but I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of the guy, but seeing the way his story was done just felt so perfect to me. And like his relationship with his father and everything, it was just way more fleshed out, and it was just so much better than it was in the original, because in the original it's not even really clear what his powers are. It's kind of like the movie expects you to know what his powers are, and even though I'm a comic book fan, I'm a pretty big DC fan. I'm a big DC fan, I would say, and I don't, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Cyborg, so I don't know too much about his abilities. Like, I know he can like hack into stuff, and I know he can like make all sorts of like guns and weapons and stuff, and he can fly, and sometimes he can fly in different iterations, I think. But nothing too specific like other characters like Superman, you know, heat vision, freeze breath, flight, like near invulnerability. Green Lantern can make magical construct that are you know, stronger based on his willpower, you know, stuff like that. Flash just runs fast, basically. You know, but for Cyborg, I'm not the clearest on his stuff in like detail, and the original movie really didn't help with that at all. But like here, they really showed the potential of his powers if he used them for good or for bad. Like when he helped that woman who got evicted from her apartment, like he just made her win a fake lottery of like $100,000. Like that was such a great ending to that scene. But the whole scene, like the flashback was so, man, that was so emotional, and it was just so well done. Like the visuals were, and the music, like, man, I just can't state enough how much I loved this movie's music, because the scenes were already incredible. Gosh, I can't speak. But the music just really enhanced everything tenfold. And like, yeah, if the music was just music, then the scenes would, you know, help the music out too. So it's like, you know, it's a mutual relationship between the two things. They're both essential. But just, man, just everything in that scene was so well done. I felt so bad for Victor when he was like celebrating the touchdown and winning the game within a matter of seconds, you know, like at the last second he made that touchdown, he won the whole game for his team. And he was just celebrating, going crazy because, he did that. And then he just looked up to the stands and saw his mom cheering, and he was so happy. And then he just looked to the left and saw an empty seat where his dad was supposed to be. And then, man, that just broke my heart. Like, I felt so bad for him. Like, like, watching him go from, like, celebrating, like, just going crazy like it's New Year's Eve, and then just watching him be standing there while all his teammates around him were going crazy, and he's just standing there staring at the camera. It was such, man, it was so, that was pretty powerful. And then, like, right after that, the scene where his mother dies, and, like, the dialogue between Victor and his mom in the car was really well written and well acted. And then just the crash in the middle of the conversation before things can be resolved, like, it's so, man. Then going on to where, like, his full capabilities are displayed, like how things look to him inside his mind, like how he's just like, he looks like a normal guy, but he has these like godly abilities. He doesn't make anything happen on Earth because so much of our stuff here on Earth is just technological, or relies on technology, and like maybe Wi-Fi connections, or just, digital stuff. And he is now just, mostly digital, honestly, like, at least physically. So just the fact that he has the power to do so much crazy stuff, like all the examples they give in the scene with the music swelling and his dad just really making it clear how powerful he at least has the potential to be. Like, it was just, man, it was really great. And then after he gives that woman the fake lottery, the woman who got evicted from her apartment, the fake lottery, he's walking down the street with his hood down, because he's wearing his like little sweatsuit, but his hood is down so you can see his cyborg parts on his face. And he's walking past this couple on the street, and they look at him, and he just like slows down for a second, then just puts his hood back on and keeps on walking, and they just like run away. Like, that was so, like, the scene almost ended on such a positive note. At least, yeah, it almost did. But he gave that woman the fake lottery. Like, even though it wasn't, like, probably wasn't an actual lottery or anything, but the money was real. And, that really helped her. And then that would have been a nice, sweet little ending to the scene. But then those people see him as a monster, and he covers up. And then after that, his dad, because he was listening to everything his dad was saying on the tape recorder that his dad left for him. And he went off to his room. And after he finishes listening to all the stuff about Victor's potential, or his own potential, his dad says in the tape recorder, "Now let me say something to you, not as a scientist, but as a father." And then he just smashes the tape recorder in his hands and just drops all the pieces to the ground. Like, man, that was crazy. That was so, man. Let's see. I guess we could just go over Wonder Woman's entrance scene now. Yeah, that sounds good. It's a very similar scene to the original theatrical version, because it's the same setup with hostages and the guy with the gun, or guys with guns, and the terrorists. She has to go stop them, but the fight choreography is way different, and it's really, I think it's definitely cooler than the original, like everything in this movie, to be honest. But yeah, it was it's always kind of interesting how, like, it was, Wonder Woman is like a sweet person and stuff like that, or Diana, and then she just kind of murdered the lead terrorist by like using both her wrist bracelets. I forget what they're called, but both of them, when she slams them together, she creates this massive shockwave, and she used it on that one guy, and just like, not incinerated, but just destroyed him in an instant. It was funny. Then after that, she has this cute little moment where she helps this little girl, like, "Are you okay?" Like, the guy you like murdered in front of those children isn't okay. But other than that, it was a great scene. It just kind of threw me off a little bit, but it was, it was a great scene. And let's see, Aquaman's entrance scene isn't too different than the original. There aren't really any jokes about him talking to fish anymore, thankfully. It's like all the bad jokes from the original. I think I mentioned this already, but basically all the bad jokes from the original are gone. They're replaced with less jokes but better jokes, so that's way better. Let's see, Batman doesn't really have a specific flashback or entrance scene or anything like the others, but he's just way better in this movie because he feels way more like Batman. Like not the first movie, in the theatrical version, like all the jokes and like ways he's just so intimidated by stuff, and I don't know, just the total mischaracterization of Batman just makes him feel like such a bumbling oaf. That's not who Batman is or should be. Like, Batman, even though he's the only person basically without any superpowers on the team, he should be like one of, if not the most capable members of the team. Like, he's the only one that comes up with contingency plans, for taking down every single member of the team if necessary. So, like, no one else does that, and he's the only one who can enact those, presumably. Like, he just, it wasn't Batman in the theatrical cut. He was just a wimp. Like one really good example of this, like how Batman is just like way cooler and way more capable and way more Batman. Like, still has his limits, but just more Batman, is Superman's resurrection scene. God, I just can't speak today. So in the scene where Superman, just wakes up and he's fighting the members of the League, when Batman showed up in his theatrical cut, Superman rushes over to him, like, picks him up by his throat, and then, wait, no, before he does that, okay, yeah, like, this may be the worst thing. He, like, backhands Batman into a police car. He's just tossing him around like a rag doll, and then he picks him up by his throat, just choking him, and then with his weird CGI unmustached face, he says, do you bleed, like Batman said to him in BVS. And after that, Lois Lane, the worst character in the series, possibly, shows up, and he just tosses him aside like an old toy or some dirty clothes, and then goes away to kiss Lois, and then Batman is left, like, stumbling to his feet, saying something's definitely bleeding. Like, he was just so pathetic in that movie. I don't know why whoever was involved made him out to be like that, because that's not who Batman is. In this version, when Superman wakes up, he uses his heat vision on Batman, so he's not holding back at all. But Batman he's not wearing his suit from BVS, like the big Iron Man type suit, so he's not as, he can't take as much punishment from Superman as he could in that movie. So Superman just uses his heat vision on him, which sends him, like, flying into the car, but not on, like, his chest or anything. Batman, he's Batman. He has plans for this kind of stuff. He's not pathetic without. He's just not the same guy as he was before, thankfully. So, he uses his gauntlets to, like, protect himself from the heat vision, and the heat vision is, it's Superman, so he's very powerful. So he just starts taking him out, and then that's when Lois Lane comes in. Like, Batman is still, like, doing his best to hold his own. He's not getting thrown around and slapped like some crazy kid, like just destroying some toy of his. Like, Batman is Batman. I think this movie makes that very clear. Like, he's the one with the plan. He's the one who can, like, if you get on his nerves, or like if you do wrong by him, the Batman can, like, take almost anyone down, Like, Batman, he's Batman. Like, if anyone asks you, well, how will you do that? Like, he's Batman. That's all you need to know. Like, in the theatrical cut, that just wasn't there, but now I think it really is. And I'm really happy to say that. I'm glad it was there. And, I guess we could go over, like, Superman's specific scene right now, where he, while the team the other members of the League are like going to Steppenwolf's base to go fight him. Superman, not the scenes where he's talking to Lois Lane and his mother, because those weren't nearly as bad, or they didn't make me as miserable as they have other times. But I still didn't like them very too much. But when he is going to his ship and he's going to get the black suit, which looks so beautiful, dude. The black suit looks amazing. It's basically like a sequel to the flight scene in Man of Steel. Not a Man of Steel 2, a sequel to that specific scene, if that makes sense. It has like quotes from his Kryptonian father and his Earth father, and both of them are talking to him, and the Man of Steel theme is playing in the background, just, building and building. And then it's so cool how they display just Superman's insane power when he's about to take off, because he's just like, with his fists on the ground and like his knees on the ground, he's just charging up and building up potential energy there. And little rocks and pebbles are just like circling around his hands, just because of the raw cosmic power he has. Like, it's so crazy. And then when he takes off, he just bang, sends a shockwave through the ground, and then he goes flying above the earth, and then this beautiful shot of him with his arms out above the earth looking at the sun, and just him just being so grateful and satisfied with the fact that he's back and he gets to just love this planet more. That's what I got from that scene, personally. That's the kind of vibes it gave me. And then, like, after that, the final battle was... The climax in general was just way better than the original. Like, everyone has something to do in the climax. Everybody is helpful in some way. Especially Flash. I'm going to get to him in a second. But one thing I really loved that they... not changed, really. I guess kind of, but not too much. But more so added was, like, team-up attacks, which is something... If you watch any Marvel movies, they do team-up attacks in, like, their team-up movies, like, all the time. And that's what makes them really cool to watch. Like, in the first Avengers movie, like, the first Marvel team-up movie in the MCU, like, in the final fight, like, you could see Iron Man, for example, like, him shooting his repulsor blast from his hands to Captain America's shield, and he reflects the blast towards the Chitauri. Like, them just working together, and just looks awesome, and you just get excited. In Justice League, they weren't working together, they didn't feel like a team, and they were just losing the fight until Superman came in and did all the work for them. It's like, the movie at that point might as well have been called, like, Superman and His Amazing Friends. Like, it wasn't the Justice League, because the other members of the League didn't do anything. Like, Batman got thrown around like a toy. The others could barely do anything in their fight against Superman, where he probably wasn't even using all of his full strength. And then the final fight against Steppenwolf, who Superman takes down easily, they can barely do anything. Like, it felt like they were just so insignificant. And yeah, Superman is probably the strongest in the League in terms of just raw power, but the others aren't weak at all. Like, they should be able to do something, and they really didn't. Like, even if Flash was there fighting Steppenwolf, in the original movie, he probably wouldn't have been able to do anything. But here, he probably would have been able to do something. But again, I'm gonna get to Flash in a second. But just the team up moves were so cool, because the characters really felt less like characters, more like real people who knew, like, this is what they have to do and they're gonna do it, and they're just working together, which, they have to do. That's the point of having a team up movie, is having the superheroes work together and to defeat the villain, and having cool team up bits, just stuff. But that wasn't in the original, but it's here now. I'm very happy to say that. And Flash's job, I'm gonna get to that now, because yeah, just to kind of keep things in order. So Flash's job was to build up enough electric, energy by running in a circle around the battlefield, so that when the Unity is about to, become the Unity and just combine and kill everyone, Flash is gonna come in and touch Cyborg, so he has enough energy to put himself inside the Unity and tear it apart from the inside out. So Flash is building up energy the entire fight, and then Superman shows up, and when Superman shows up, he just starts wailing on Steppenwolf. Like, it's crazy. Like, he uses his heat vision. Like, he goes from Steppenwolf's shoulder to his horn, and he like clean chops his horn off with his heat vision alone. Like, that was insane. He was just punching him in. Like, Steppenwolf was already on his back on the ground. Superman was standing on top of him, just punching him in the face. Heat vision, punch in the face. Heat vision, punch in the face. Like, it was crazy. He was going in. And then a boom tube opens up, and Darkseid is there with Granny Goodness and Desaad. It was so cool to see Granny Goodness, even if for only a few seconds. That was cool. And then the Unity is formed. Flash is knocked down by Parademon's gun, and then all of them die. The Flash is trying to recover, and then he like stops time, and he runs faster than the speed of light, reverses time, touches Cyborg, and gives him the energy he needs to get inside the Unity. And Cyborg does his thing. Superman steps in, and then after they do that, after they destroy or stop the mother boxes, Superman like either punches or throws. The other one sounds cool. Let's just say punches Steppenwolf to the boom tube, and then Aquaman like hits him with his trident or something, and then Wonder Woman, like while Steppenwolf is already flying through the air to Darkseid, she chops his head off, and then Darkseid just catches it with his foot and then steps on it and cracks the other horn off. And then the Justice League is just staring at him and all their might through the boom tube, and then it closes, and the last thing Darkseid says is like just like organize the troops for real. We'll do this like the old-fashioned way, not the old-fashioned way, because Darkseid wouldn't say that, but something along those lines, which sets up the even less likely to happen Justice League Part 2. Then, man, the new Justice League theme is just so good. Like, it gave me chills at the end of the movie when they're all lined up and they're about to go home, I guess, and, standing on top of the tube where Steppenwolf's base was. Like, man, that just made me, like, happy and satisfied with seeing these characters on screen, like, all together, It just felt really good. And then, and then the epilogue, the nightmare scene was so well done. And something I found out that, man, if it's true, this is crazy. I think I've heard it before, so I think it is true, like multiple times. But that Ben Affleck and Jared Leto didn't actually shoot the nightmare scene together. They were like separate when they shot it, and I think Zack Snyder was like directing the scene from like a Zoom call or something, so they were shot like separately, but their quote-unquote chemistry in the scene was like incredible. Like, it was so good. Like, this was actually a scene where I enjoyed Jared Leto's Joker. I just don't know what to believe anymore, but I really enjoyed him in this scene. His Joker is really fun in the scene. Like, this is such a post-apocalyptic, just crazy society, and his Joker is just, Joker, and I really enjoyed that. And seeing the other characters in their nightmare outfits, like seeing Barry again, that was really cool. Or Nightmare Barry. And then seeing Nightmare Mara, Cyborg didn't look that different. He was just wearing a cloak, basically. And then at the end, Superman shows up and he's just terrifying. And then Bruce wakes up and then he hears the like booms of something or someone flying through the air, and then he goes outside and sees Martian Manhunter. Like, we already saw him earlier in the movie, but seeing him interact with Bruce and really getting to see him clearer and for longer, like hearing him talk and stuff like that, it was just so cool to see him on screen. Like, I think that was the first live action Martian Manhunter, and that was really cool to see him. His design looked really nice. Like, it's just so crazy that this movie exists and we got to see just everything we've been hearing about for years now. Like, it's so it's just so cool. I'm really like, again, I'm saying it, but I'm just so glad this movie exists. Like, it's really great. And then yeah, it's just so cool. And I don't know if I went over this, but the scene where like the flashback scene where Darkseid is fighting the old gods. Like that was such a cool scene. It was so, like, Darkseid was so intimidating. He was just scary, dude. Like, he was so bulky, and his weapon, like, he just looked really intimidating. Like, the noises he would make, like, his voice was so deep and terrifying. Like, man. And then the Green Lantern, that scene was really cool. We got to see, like, a lot more of him. And then he got his hand chopped off, and then the lantern ring was going flying off, and Darkseid tried to grab the ring, which would be, seeing a Green Lantern Darkseid would be so funny. Like, he would have obliterated them. But then somebody shot him with an arrow in the chest, and the lantern ring went off to find, I don't know, Hal Jordan or John Stewart or Guy Gardner or somebody. Hopefully not Guy. But yeah. And then, man, like, seeing Darkseid, like, get, like, electrocuted and then, like, chopped in the shoulder from that one guy, that one Viking looking dude. I don't remember what his name was, but man, like, so much blood came out of his shoulder. Like, I didn't expect to see him get, like, really damaged like that. And then the Parademons just carried him up to his ship. Like, I forgot if, like, the old gods won that fight or not. I was kind of feeling like they would have lost it, but then that obviously wouldn't make any sense because Earth wouldn't, like, really exist the same way it does now. It would have been, you know, the, like, more post-apocalyptic thing that you see in the nightmare scenes than, you know, normal Earth. So obviously they didn't lose the fight. So, but that was a really cool scene. Like, seeing Darkseid just in battle, seeing how intimidating it was really cool. And seeing how intimidating Steppenwolf is now, like, he's way bulkier. Like, he has way more of a, like, hulkish figure, especially around, like, his shoulder and his neck. Like, his neck is so, like, I know this may sound weird, but his neck is really, like, thick and muscular, and it just makes him really intimidating to me for some reason. I don't know why. And I was watching a clip of this movie on YouTube the other day, and I didn't notice this when watching the movie, but somebody pointed out that Steppenwolf has, like, 7 or 8 fingers, and it looks so nasty. Like, if you're looking at that scene in the final battle where Superman shows up, the Steppenwolf tries to claw him across the face, and Superman just, like, floats to the side. You can see it right there, and it looks so nasty if you want to throw up. It looks so unnatural. But, yeah, his new armor looks insane. Like, I love the way each of the individual little, like, shards of metal on his armor were, like, articulated, and how it could, like, retract, like, the nanotech in the Marvel movies with, like, a Black Panther suit and Iron Man's latest suits. You know, that sort of thing, only not quite as, like, earthy technology. You know, it just feels a little different, but it was still really cool all the same. And, this video is pretty long at this point, but I'm gonna go over the credits, and I think that'll probably be it. But man, the credits, like that, the music. I made a comment about this on a version of the song in the credits, you know, the one that was uploaded on YouTube, and I recognized the song from the piano at the beginning. And I knew it. I just couldn't place exactly what it was called. And as soon as I did, like, it really hit me emotionally. Like, it was Hallelujah, and it was Zack's daughter Autumn's. It was her favorite song, and like like at the end of the movie, seeing For Autumn and then hearing that song, and that was a really beautiful rendition of that song. And just seeing all this and seeing how much Zack clearly loves his daughter, seeing how he constantly mentions her, and, you know, just seeing the love he has for her is really touching to me. And this movie and all the time and effort I'm sure you put into it, and the fact that he was willing to do it without pay, like, he didn't get paid for this movie at all. He was doing this for his daughter, and he was doing it for the fans. That really, this may sound pretty corny to some people, but he really has my respect. That was really all of this. This is a really great thing that he's done here, and I know a lot of the fans, most of the fans. I'm not gonna be my usual analytical, try and please everyone's self. I'm just gonna say the fans are really proud of him. I know. I'm sure his daughter is really proud of him too, and I hope he knows that. He's I'm just really happy for him that he gets to have. I feel like it would be a bit of closure for him, just getting to finish this project that he had to stop because of not because of his daughter. That sounds bad, but because of the circumstances, he just couldn't do it. And I'm sure he's glad that he got to finish this movie and that he got to do it for her. So, yeah, in short, honestly, I kind of love this movie. Like, I love the music, I love the visuals, the aspect ratio, although it's kind of funny, especially when you're watching it on a TV. I watched it on TV in our main room at the house when I watched it for the first time. The aspect ratio is a little odd at first, but you get used to it pretty early on. At least I did, within a few minutes, actually. So yeah, and the visuals, the music, the characters, man, I love the characters, and just the fact that it exists, It's like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. It's like how listening to the fans can be such a good thing. And it's just a really nice story of, like, perseverance. The creation of this movie, it's really something special, and this movie is really something special. So I'm not going to give it a number rating because I'm not a big fan of those. Like, after pouring my heart out talking about this movie for however long it's been I'm recording this, and then to just put a number on it at the end feels kind of silly to me. But I love this movie, and I think I watched it for 4 hours all the way through for the first time, just all the way through, and I really enjoyed myself. So you can watch it however you'd like. That's fine, but I can definitely say that I recommend this movie however you choose to watch it, however much time you have for, and whatever points in time. I definitely recommend you watch this movie, and even if you don't like it, show some respect for Zack Snyder and his daughter. Don't say anything stupid, please. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. I love this movie, honestly. I'm glad it exists. Whether the Snyderverse is restored or not, I'm glad we have this. I really am. So, thank you for watching this long video. However much you decide to watch, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you watched the movie. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you are respectful online. Maybe show some support for Zack and make a tweet or something about this movie or to him. And yeah, thanks for watching. Now, see you guys in the next video, whatever it may be. So yeah, see you around.